All right. Welcome. Welcome.
Now when the strobe light hits, I want you to move like this. Now when the strobe light hits, I want you to move like this. Hit the strobe. 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 Hit the strobe.
All right. Well, welcome. Welcome to the night shift. I think we are recording now.
Now.
Let's have a look.
We know we've all been through kindergarten, people, so we know what a red light and a green light is. So when I say red light, stop.
Red light. Green light.
All right. We are live. Funny.
Now when the strobe light hits, I want you to move like this.
Let's turn that music down a little bit.
Now when the strobe light hits, I want you to move like this.
All right.
Hit the strobe.
This is a pretty cool setup. So we've got everything set up here. Yeah, just playing around with it. It's like, it's pretty cool. You set up your own. It's pretty cool. Like, this is my shed that I have at home. Like, it's a massive shed, and I just figured, well, let's just turn it. What are we going to do with it? So I've turned it into half of it's a gym, which you can see down there. There's like an upper level with just storage. My missus is about to open up a business that's going to be down the other end, and I figured, well, in this corner, let's turn it into a studio. It's like, why not? And yeah, so what I've started doing is just posting things on X. Been playing around with like AI. So my background is in, the traditional graphic design, where the Adobe tools and what the last 20 plus years have looked like. That's what my career's been. And now I've just been dabbling around with these AI tools. And so what's really interesting is I can take all these fundamentals that that is creativity, it's communication, it's advertising, it's marketing, it's design, it's visual communication, all those things. And now I can look at these new tools and think, what happens when I throw them together? There's this thing that happens when people come up, when a new technology comes about, movements tend to take this new technology and map it backwards. And so what that means is these new tools with these new capabilities, but then they take the way things have always been done and try to do it with these tools. And I think ultimately that's like a very limited way of doing things, because you're not really thinking in the present tense, and you're not thinking about, well, where does this go? You're thinking, okay, here's this new toy. How can I do the old stuff faster? And I think that's the wrong way. So what I do in these sessions at night is just pick up these tools, these brand new, AI design, creative tools, creative intelligence, and try to play around with them and see what they become. I'm not married to, just doing my old work faster or doing my old work with more capabilities. What I'm really into is discovering, okay, well, if this is the baseline, where can these tools like elevate us up to? So just experimentation is the only way. There is no rule books, there is no theory, there is no guidelines. We are here, you know, as history has been written. We're writing history. So what I will bring up, I kind of like having background music now. Yeah. Because this is what I really want to show with these live streams is more about like what is the... This is as real as it gets. This is what it's like to do this sort of stuff. You sort of lock in, you have an idea, you focus on something, you have a hunch, whatever it may be, and then put some heavy metal on and see what happens. Just have some fun. So the reason why I'm doing this late is because I've got 2 kids, got a family, and this block at night, there's a couple of hours, that's it. Like that is the window to do this sort of experimentation. So it's kind of cool. There is no one up. I think there's a thunderstorm happening at the moment. But anyway, let's dig into this. So here we go. Forget about that. So what I'm actually creating here is I made this poster. I've been fascinated with the concept of motion posters. Actually, I want that to go to 800. Get up to 100%. So this idea of motion posters, where like traditionally posters have existed where it's just been a static medium, or a static medium on, you know, on a wall or in a real situation and, you know, real place. Excuse me. And it's been cool. But then when you watch these sci-fi movies, you'll see like they'll have these LED or like holographic display panels, and then you'll see like these animated advertisements and posters. Well, you don't really see a lot of them unless you go into like a shopping mall or supermarket where you have that big LED screen. And yeah, they have some motion, they have some animation, but it's such a wasted opportunity because they think of it like it's like a catalogue come to life. And I think catalogues inherently are just suck. Catalogues are really just price guides. And so to bring that into a medium like, animated display that's in a real world environment, it's such a waste of opportunity. Because when you think about, you've got people walking past, and all you're seeing is just this banner display ad. It's pretty boring. So what I wanted to create with like this sort of thing is, let's use AI. Let's take these traditional posters and let's, give them life, give them something. So this was all created using AI, and the title design was created with Illustrator, and the animation to it, which is really simple animation on this text, like that's it. Just created in After Effects and laid out in After Effects. There's still what have we got down here? A watermark, because this was only a free trial using this AI animation software. But the point of this is really just for me to understand, like, what is this technology? So let's have a look at like what I actually got out of this. So I did a couple of posters, but there was 2. So I rendered this one. I really love this. It's great. And then I had this one. And this is so cool. So the image that this came from was this one. This image here. Like, look at how cool that is. The detail. This is just done with Midjourney. This other one was done with Midjourney. And so the process is really simple. You just you take this image, you come up with a prompt, but in this case, I just went through and explored like what all the other artists, and I'll call them artists, because doing these prompts, even though it's generated by the AI, like the outcome and the technique and the skill and the that capability as an artist, it's created by the system. However, doing these prompts is really challenging, because I think what we're going to see is like what I was talking about before, when you see people take new technologies but remap them to older practices. What we're going to see here, like that is just the very beginning of them, but where it goes once we sort of get this out of our systems is we start creating the next thing, the next wave. And I think it's going to be a renaissance, but of a completely different kind. So this early stage is really just, it's going to be a lot of photocopying of what has already been done. And I think that's normal. I think that's where us as a collective begin. It's like, okay, we're in this space. This is what we're thinking. This is our inspirations, our motivations. And it's what we're seeing play out now. Like a lot of old styles, traditional styles, contemporary styles, modern styles. And it's really good, because once we get through that as a collective, then the next part of that, the next step of that is not the revolutionaries, the evolutionaries. The people who bring about something that's like, oh wow, we've never seen that. And that these AI tools, creative intelligence tools, this is the only way that this stuff is possible. This is not something a traditional painter can do. This is not something a traditional illustrator can do. It's not something a photographer can do. This is something so otherworldly, so interdimensional, that this can only be done with this tool set. I don't think we're there yet, but I think as these tools become more widely adopted, and as these tools sort of soak more into the fabric of the culture, then I think given enough time and allowing it to ferment a bit, that's when we go to the next stage. So anyway, it's really cool, this sort of stuff. And then you just throw it into like animation, AI animation. I don't know if you call it software as a service, perhaps is probably the best definition. And then what comes back is like these videos. And these had no prompts, because I didn't want to understand this. I didn't want to get in the way and artificially filter the results. I just wanted to throw things in raw and to see what would come out. And so it's almost like poking to understand the cause and effect of everything. So then I throw it into After Effects. The reason being is I find what I've noticed a lot of AI artists are doing is they're trying to go for this one shot. In one shot, one kill. And what I mean by that is they want AI to 100% generate everything, every detail, where it's not just the lighting, the framing, the context, the characters, but the text, the final look, the grain, the texture, the frame rate, whatever it may be. Whereas I think it's more of a mixed media piece, where it is an AI, baseline, a foundation image. Then it's got some graphic design, communication typography on top of that. Then it's got some AI or some After Effects animation, text, grain, dirtying it up there. Then it's got some color correction on top, some film grain on top of that, and then maybe some chromatic aberration to give it another quality. I find a lot of AI artists are relying upon getting everything in the prompt, and I think you can do that, but I think that's a really one-dimensional way of thinking about it. I think, why not expand the palette in which you can create? Why not create something in Illustrator? I'm sorry, not Illustrator. Why not create something in Illustrator, put it into an AI image generator tool to build upon that, take that, put that up onto a big screen, grab a video camera, film it with like a bit of handheld motion, take that footage, cut it up, put it into your computer, pump it back into an AI video to video, what would you call it? Video to video generation, and see what the emergent outcome of that is. And I think once you can start to do this and start to play with the layers, that's when it becomes very free. I think that's when you're free as an artist. Yeah. But anyway, when we come back to this, you get this sort of thing. So when you build up the layers, now if you can hear the wind in the background, that's because there's a storm. But anyway, I'll play the background music and so anyway, this is very simple. This is a very dirty and ugly setup. So it's not clean, but it's so simple. Like, the layers aren't named, but they don't need to be. We've got the background video. Just the creative education, like the school that I run, is called the Creative World, and I don't want to say school. Just it's education. It's education around these new developing and emergent tools. And the reason why I call it Creative World, there's more to it than can be said really simply. Well, okay, here's the simple, and it's kind of strange out of context, but I figured in a world that exists where there are a handful of people who have a shiny red button on their desk that can press the button and wipe out the entire planet, which is insane, and it's also true, I thought, what is the counter to that? What is the exact opposite to that? That outcome, that possibility, that stream, which is it's true, and it's here. Then, what's the opposite of that? And I thought it's the creative world. It's the creative world. It's imagine a red button. No, imagine a brightly colored neon button on your desk, and you press that, and it's the opposite to destruction, global destruction. Like, what happens? Yeah, that's the creative world. Now, what that is and what that becomes, I don't really know, but what I'm trying to seek out is what is the opposite of nuclear annihilation? It's creativity. So that's where the creative world comes from. So we just layer these assets up on top. They've got the Slayer logo. This Slayer logo is so simple. What we've got happening here is we have just the original Slayer logo. It's a really awesome logo, actually. And then we just got this texture that I put over the top. That. So what does that texture look like? The texture it's a fractal noise. So this is just oh, sorry, it's not even on the fucking screen. Here we go. Yeah, so we've got this texture happening. like that. And this is just playing around with the fractal noise parameters and animating over time. If anyone's a fan of Andrew Kramer, the video co-pilot, I think everybody who's in the video editing space should absolutely start on Andrew Kramer, just to learn how to use these tools. So what we've got here, if we bring that up, is just the time times 1,000. So on the evolution, which is sort of the evolution of this noise property parameter, times it by 1,000. So every time, like every second, frame, whatever, second, multiply the movement by 1,000. It's pretty cool, pretty simple, so simple. So it gives us this sort of look. And then what I do, because I want it to be really jittery and I don't know, stop motiony, I guess is probably the way to describe it. And then I just add this posterized time. Posterized time, what it does is it cuts down the frame rate, so it just eliminates frames. So I think where this is currently set at 29.97 frames per second, you can hear the rain coming back. Like that's the rain coming again. So yeah, it's pretty stormy. I've got to figure out, like, with this, because as I'm doing this and doing more of these, I'm slowly building up my arsenal of like the tools that I need. So I've got like this mixing board here, got my like mic set up, got my all these computers feeding into this, and I switched this mic over from going from it was just like a USB-C straight into the MacBook I've got here that's doing all this recording. And what was I going to say? MacBook doing the recording, and so a lot of the like noise gate and compressor was happening in the software, which was cutting out all this background noise that, you know, if I turn down the music, like you can hear it. You can even hear like more of an echo. But now I switch over to XLR and running everything into this mixing board, and then the mixing board is feeding back via USB. I don't have the capabilities to have that noise gate anymore, because what the noise gate's going to do, well, I've probably got to experiment, but it's going to noise gate everything. So all this background music, any other feeds coming in, and like I'm learning how to do this. Like going back to the thing of like, what is the creative world? Just creating. So you learn as you go. Right. Anyway, better get back into this, and let's go here. All right. So posterized time. So what that takes it from being is like this smooth, just this smooth look to, I want it to be real jittery, like that. Now I don't know if this is actually coming through on the feed, but it's very jittery, and yeah. So then when you apply it together, then you get like this sort of dirty effect. It's not really inspired by anything. It was more coming out of, I just don't want it to look computer perfected. So then when we go back into this, then you can see it like that. So another thing you'll notice on here is I've got a mask. And this mask is when I turn these layers, unsolo these layers, it just puts the bird in front of it. Because remember, this bird, like this AI footage, it's just all one solid layer. So there's no alpha channels, there's no transparencies, there's no layers. What I would need to do if I were to do something more complex, or I have a more happening in the background, then I would have to go through and rotoscope it. So I'm hoping that there's a way to, well, I think these animation tools, perhaps there might even be an AI tool that can do this, to take an alpha matte or like an object ID matte. So it will happen, absolutely. Like I'm betting on it, that then I don't have to rotoscope this. So what's happening with this one, let me just go back into this mask and turn it off. So this is where you'll see the mask. I'm not going to go into too much detail on how this mask was done, but it's really rough. Okay, I'm going to tell you. So we've got this layer, and one of the things, one of the things with these is, this is one of my old tricks when working with things like someone against a solid background, like a sky. If you shot a person and then you had them and the sky in the background, you can take a really solid key from that. And because I can see this bird is in front of this sky, the sky's not perfect, and there's this color is very close to that, so it's not going to be a perfect key. But this is the way I do it. Is I'll create a new layer like that, or like a new adjustment layer, and I'll convert this image to black and white, because then I know I can take a luma key. If I can get what I want black and what I don't want as white, or inverse it, whatever however you set it up, then you can do it. So what you can see here, let's just break this down. I'll turn off all these layers and we can have a look. Oh, there's only two. So the very first thing I do is I just convert it to black and white. And there's probably some more adjustments. I think there's actually better. Oh, fuck. I haven't got the screen on. Okay. So let's do that again. So got this. Now I want to convert it to black and white. There's actually a black and white filter or preset effect, whatever. That I think it does better. It handles it better because you can adjust the values where you might be able to even knock those out. But anyway, so I just, in this simplified example, I just convert it to black and white. Then go to levels. And what I do with these levels is I try to make them as high contrast as possible, so I can just get it to black and white, not shades of grey like that, just black and white, but not so highly contrasted that it gives me these like ugly pixelated edges like that. I don't want that. I want it to be as smooth as I can, but as defined as I can too. So I think there, right. So it's that simple, because I know from that I can do that. Now, because I don't have, like, when you look down here, you think, well, what about all this mess? It's like still grey. It's like it doesn't matter for this, because I know that I don't have any text there. All I have up here is this Slayer text. There's nothing down here. So although it's not pretty in my mask, it doesn't need to be. I just need to make sure that this section up here where the Slayer is going to be is perfect. Yeah, so how I go about fixing that up is then I'll just go through here, and this is literally just a black rectangle masked, and I will just mask it to cover up those areas. So I haven't done that part, and I've got a part here. If I just turn that layer on, and that is it. I hate doing rotoscope, but hey, listen to that wind. I'll turn some music up. So I don't think, like, I think with this music it's probably gonna, yeah, I think this, maybe this stream just gets blocked, but fuck it, we're just trying it out anyway. Okay. Just gonna mute this sound. Yep, there we go. Yeah, so now just go through and finish that off. So when you can see now, when you come in here, you'll see that up here, the head's perfect key, and there's, yeah, pretty good too. If I turn this mask off, I call it garbage matte. You can see it's cut through there. I don't want that, so now I just put some music on. suck it up and just get it done. And so my objective with this is I know that it just has to be black in here. So when I turn this layer on, I just know it needs to be black. So I'm just going through and doing it. And then once I'm done, I'm just going to post it up on X. Just play around with all this stuff. There are people who are really good at doing masks. I'm not very good at them. Not because they're difficult to do, but because I'm lazy. I hate doing tedious things like this. It's just... yeah. But people who are really good at this are really good at this. And there's probably even, you can use tools like Mocha in After Effects to do this sort of stuff. But I just can't be fucked. Sometimes I think that the fastest solution is brute forcing. It's ugly, but I find sometimes when you sort of set up these plugins and you get all the layers right and blah blah blah, that it's actually quicker to just put a podcast on and put a podcast on and just smash it out and just get it done. Like, if I wasn't talking, this would take me 10 minutes. It just feels yuck. But anyway, when you do these sort of boring tasks, it's a really good moment to just reflect on things. You know, you can think about what you're doing, you can think about life. It's pretty meditative in many ways. You know, you can think about life, you can think about careers. What do you really want to be doing this? Or you can just be mindful and just focus purely on getting this done. I usually have a lot of thoughts rolling through my head when I do this type of thing. And honestly, I don't know if I will be doing traditional graphic design like I have done for very much longer. It's not to say that I don't enjoy it, but it's more... I think its value in its current state has come to an end. What do I mean by that? I don't know what I mean by that. But, you know. Yeah. I'm just rambling. But I'm really enjoying this. Got a pretty cool setup happening here. But yeah, listen to that storm. So I'm just making some edits on my... Oop. Yeah, wow. Storms kick back up, but... Hey. Okay. So you can see it's not perfect, and it's a sign of a noob, someone who does frame by frame mask. But where this is going to exist on, on socials, this detail's not going to be seen. So this is not like it's going to be on a movie screen that it's going to be on a, streamed around the world and in 4K. So it doesn't really matter too much. But I'm hating every second of doing this. I might just extend it back. But yeah. What else is happening? I've definitely done this the hard way. Cup of tea. Probably shouldn't drink any more of that tea, as I'll be sleeping tonight. Well, I can probably talk about my career a bit. So most recently, I guess my current day job, although I'm on parental leave because I just had a new kid. But my I had 2 day jobs. Well, I actually got 4 jobs concurrently. But, well, let's go through some of them. I teach. So I teach graphic design at a place called TAFE, Tasmania, or just TAFE. It's tertiary education, like a trade school. And I teach graphic design. But graphic design is a pretty nebulous word now. It means a lot of things in a lot of different areas. God, this sucks so much. What I don't like about this is I made this so messy. Like, look at all these keyframes. Something like this should not be this messy. But, oh well, it is what it is. So teaching graphic design, but the reason why I say it's a nebulous word because it can branch off into so many areas. Like, my career itself has sort of been around the world and many times in many different fields, and the different fields I've sort of dabbled in, well, not even dabbled, like spent or maybe you call it a vacation. No, not vacation. Like some projects I worked on, I worked on a project in the health system, designing like apps and infrastructures in data, and portions of it wasn't graphic design, but graphic design, creativity is just a way of thinking. So you can be creative with a pen and paper, you can be creative with paintbrush, but you can also be creative with data. You can be creative with how people move through a space. Like, creativity isn't just a single domain. Creativity is just a way of thinking. It's a way of seeing the world. And yep. And once you sort of have that model, like, literally in mind, you can apply that to any space, any dimension. So the other job I've got is I work with Rio Tinto, which is a large, like, mining and what do you call it, minerals processing or manufacturer, whatever company, and that's working in a laboratory in a science role, in science and working in chemistry. And people ask me, the graphic design or my designer, creative friends ask me, what's that like? Like, how do you do that? Was it hard? And it's like, it's exactly the same thing. There's a problem. You have to critically reason through root cause, where, how this sort of situation branches out. And then you've got to be able to understand the constraints of the situation and come up with a creative solution. That's exactly the same as marketing. It's the same as design, the same as advertising. It's the same as anything. It's the same as like building, using tools. And so that's what people, I don't know. It's late, I'm probably just rambling, but anyway. This is looking truly ugly. This is looking so ugly, but I know this will work. Now I've just got to do this bottom beak, which sucks, but hey, we've come this far. And this is probably the thing that I'm going to put up tonight on X. I've never actually done any. Fuck, I've got to keep forgetting to switch back and forth. Oh well. At least you can enjoy the music. I'm going to do a time check. Better go to bed soon. So now I'm just going to come here and do this bottom beak. Might just do that. Duplicate. Delete the path. So I might just find a spot here. I might even just delete that mask. I'll just find a spot out here to get like a shape. Again, I'm not trying to make this perfect, even though I spent way too long doing this. Yeah, it is what it is. Just set the key, and I'll probably just work backwards one way, and then, yep. And so all I'm trying to do with this is just remove these white bits. That's it. Whoa, she windy. So, in the visual effects profession, there are people who rotoscope for a living. And it's not even simple stuff. It's like an entire scene. And I remember there was a phase where all the movies were 3D, like 3D stereoscopic, but they weren't shot in 3D. Like they didn't have the 3D cameras set up. And so what they would do, they would just shoot it like a normal film, and then some poor bastard would have to rotoscope, well, a team of poor bastards would have to rotoscope out everything. Like, that's fucked. They'd have to rotoscope everything out and then split it up into layers. And we're talking things like trees and Yeah, nah, not good. And yeah, really made a mess of this. Hope this music doesn't get this kicked off YouTube. Which, it kind of sucks that that's a thing. Like, this is just life. Like, music's so ingrained in our lives that it's like the lawyers get in the way of it. It's like music is just the background of life. And it's just like, yeah, copyright lawyers get in the way. It's like, yes, I get that the artist needs to be paid, but let's come up with a fair way to do that where I can use their music, because like, I'm not trying to steal from, in this case, Prodigy. What I am doing, I'm just showcasing what my life is like. And this song at the current time, and you know, many times, it's the background dialogue. And to just censor that out because of a copyright claim just doesn't seem in touch with culture. It's not in touch with reality. It's distorting reality to make everything legal and, what's that word? Litigious. Oh my god, there's so much in this. I've fucked this up, but I've come this far. Might as well keep going. Yeah, so work in the lab, doing science. No, it's really analysis. I do environmental analysis. So that's measuring the atmosphere, water levels for traces of fluoride. In the aluminium production process, fluoride is a byproduct that can get into natural waterways, vegetation, in the atmosphere, in the air. So my job is to be a part of the team that analyzes the environment. And then we also analyze the metal products and the and the process as well, the production process, to ensure quality. And I'm sure there's a whole host of other things we have to ensure, but the way I look at the lab and the analysis and the data that's generated, it's like the nervous system of the site. It's how the left hand talks to the right hand. It's a central communication gateway between all these different areas of production. And it's essential. But, well, my belief is essential. So, yeah, I work in there as well. And it's great because it's such a different set of skills outside of the traditional creative industries, where you're still sort of leveraging the same thought processes and the same logic, but applying it in new ways and stretching it and transforming it in different ways for a new domain. But inherently, if you trace everything back, like creative thinking it's still the same. It's still the same modality, regardless of what domain you're in. At least that's my experience anyway. I find jumping into creating a commercial, doing the production for a commercial, playing music, it's all connected and it's all the same. And so instead of getting awesome at a domain, get awesome at a method. because you can apply that method. Well, I don't know if method's the right word, but get awesome at a method, which in my case I consider creative reasoning. Once you kind of hone that skill, it's absolutely applicable to so many areas. But yeah. So one thing I found, like teaching the design students, is the over-reliance on technique and the over-reliance of being attached to an outcome. In this case, the outcome being a job. Like people talking about, okay, well, how do I become a graphic designer? And it's like it's too granular and non-specific. And so that's a pretty wordy way of saying is you're getting good at the wrong thing. Yeah, like how do you become a good graphic designer? You learn the Adobe suite, you get inspired by some artists, you understand creative communication, you apply all those skills, and you synthesize that into an outcome, into a final product. But I think that's the wrong way of thinking about it, because now when you step into this arena where we've got AI more than capable of all those traditional graphic design tools that a graphic designer would have learnt, and it's like, well, now the question is, what is a graphic designer? And it's like it's the wrong question to be asking, because the focus is in the wrong areas. What should have taken place, in my opinion, is the initial question should have been, how do I get better at creative reasoning? How do I get better at critical reasoning? How do I get better at deductive reasoning? You know, how do I become great at deductive reasoning? How do I become great at reading people's body language? And when you focus on those fundamental skills, then it doesn't matter what technology comes through. It doesn't matter what new methods, what new processes, what new fancy job titles. It's the foundational skill is already there. And I actually really hate that there are so many keyframes on that. Like, anyway, it's not very clean work, but I'm kind of just rambling and doing this. But yeah, and so that's what I encourage them to think. But I guess, like, I was in the same boat. I was probably too attached to a job title and not critically reasoning what are the important fundamental foundational skills that are durable. But I understand that now, because, you know, the graphic design field is changing rapidly. Really rapidly. And I don't think, well, you'd like to think that the industry was well equipped, but I don't think they are, because when you look at, you know, when I look at the advertising and marketing world and saying, you know, let's just say that they're well equipped for, let's assume that they're well equipped for a change, adaptive to change. But then when you look at the business models of advertising and things built around advertising, it's based purely upon still that 1940s, 50s model of the 15 second, 30 seconds commercial break. You know, I was watching Netflix Tonight. And there was a commercial break, an ad break in it. And you think, for like 30 seconds for a TV show that I'm not going to watch. And so you sort of have to step back from this and analyze it from a, I guess, critical reasoning. Is that they're showing me an ad. They've got this latest technology. Like, we're in 2024. They're showing me an ad that is to a TV show that, if they looked at my data, the show that I was watching was Ancient Apocalypse. If they looked at the history of the shows that I watched, it was everything along those lines, some action, things like that. Pretty documentary style, scientific sci-fi type things. And they're showing me something for a rom-com. And I'm thinking, where is this loss in translation in both user experience, but in the advertising user experience, the marketing and messaging communication? It's like, it's all like totally non-existent, despite Netflix being in the forefront of like user experience, customer delivery, global, just a global scale, and approaching problems at a global scale. I think even they fuck it up. And when I say fuck it up, technically they delivered content to me, but it's the curation of that. It's like, how does this get so warped? Because this is not fulfilling. If we're sort of rating my or other people's level of delight, and we sort of draw that line of the delight line, well, let's draw it like this, and we want it to be either consistent or we want it to be going up. You never want the delight line to be going down. But then we've got this that's sort of plateauing. The show might go up like this, but then when you hit these ads, it just drops. This measure of delight. And it's like, well, how are we at this point? With everything that we know, with all this AI, the machine learning, we've got all this data being tracked, and just the basics, like this basic premise, are still fucked up. We have to interrupt people. So this is why I think that the advertising and marketing community are really going to be tested even more so. And I'm not talking about Facebook and those behemoths, because there are eyeballs there. The innovation in their ad tech it's scary, which it means it's good, but it's scary good. So going back to the graphic designers and you know, these sort of people, it's like, well, what, you know, are you well equipped? I don't think they are, because the reason why I don't think they are, because I don't think I am well equipped, which is why I'm sort of playing around with this technology now at this time, you know, at midnight, because I do feel, you know, really under equipped to be doing this sort of stuff. Well, under equipped for what's coming, but you know, the future is a choice, life is a choice, and yeah. Almost finished this. I hope it's almost. There's still all that shit to go. I think that's all I'm going to do. Fuck this. There's too much. I keep forgetting to switch back. It's a really good technique that I really should have done to start with this. To have done this is you kind of trace out the shape of, like, let's just say this jaw or with this beak, and then you put a pivot there where the natural hinge of that jaw beak is going to be, and then you just sort of rotate it and adjust. Like, that's absolutely the quickest way of doing this, but I don't know. I think this will do. Let's just check it out. No, I'm gonna need to get rid of that, but other than that, it's all pretty good. So I'm just gonna get rid of. It's really just that there. So what I might do is I might just create another mat. Just start it there, turn it off. Just going to draw this shape out. Nope, need to select my mat. And I'm just going to garbage mat this in. The reason why I call it garbage mat is because it's not perfect. So prior to working as a teacher and to working in a lab, I ran my own business for 10 years, and that was a creative agency, and one of my roles was motion graphics and TV commercials, broadcast design, and so that's why I look at this technique on this and I know it's rubbish. But I also know how far I can push and pull this. So like, even though this is a rubbish like mat, I know that I just need to get that line there. I can go back in here. So I think it's not as bad when it's intentionally rough, which is what this is. Or knowingly rough, not... Yeah, not... It's not looking at this and thinking, yep, this is good, when it's not. But I will finish this off. And get this posted, then I'll go to bed. And do my music. Now we're back. So what really annoys me is with YouTube music and YouTube, any Rage Against the Machine song, well, certain Rage Against the Machine songs, it brings up a prompt, a warning that this contains listener discretion is advised. Discretion is advised. It contains So like suicidal themes of suicide. And it's like, and like I don't need a fucking warning. It's like, what does that even mean? Contains suicide. It's like, yeah, it's so fucking bizarre. Okay, just got to get the last little one. It's only like a frame or two. So every time a Rage Against the Machine song comes on, it gives me a warning. And then I've got to click through and accept. So you just come on. Shut up. It's like, well, why that one and why not, like... There we go. That'll do. That's done. So some pretty ugly mats happening here, as I've alluded to, but hey. We got the job done. So now when we look at this, got a beautiful mat. There's some ugliness there, but hey, fuck it. So now when I zoom back out, we'll go fit up to 100%. You play it. And now we'll post it. Isn't it beautiful? Let's go. Well, no, let's render this out. So I'm going to go Control Shift, whatever. Funny enough, I've been using After Effects for so long, I can't actually remember like what to press, like what functions I'm doing. All I remember is just the keystrokes and the shortcuts. Okay, that'll do. Okay, Raven, motion posters. We'll render that. And I'll post that. Should be done. So if I go back to Raven. Pretty cool, huh? So there's a bit of work to get that beat done, but like, look at it. It's totally worth it. Totally worth it. So let's get that up online and post it. So when I look at I'll save that for, whoops, I don't know what that means, but I'll save it. Close it. Now I'm going to go to close that. Go X. Woohoo, this other one got 19 views. So I'm just going to copy these. Actually, I'll do this. I have like no followers, by the way, so this is all happening in real time. But we'll post this. So let's play. And I think these motion posters actually play out really well on social. Like if I had that come up as an ad, but if I just had that come up, I'd be like, oh, that's pretty cool. So I'm just going to paste that. Midjourney, Adobe, we'll go Shift. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce that, but can I go? Tag Alio. Anyway. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So I think what I'm going to do is start to post more of these motion posters. I've got a few other ideas. If I go through my Discord, what's that called? Mid Journey. Oh, like that. So there's so many other cool things to work on. So I'll post that. Yeah, cool, we've got that. So now when I bring up on my phone, and I think we're gonna call that a night because it's 12:30. Oops. Pretty cool. So I think what I'm going to have to do, what I notice is that it only exists in that little rectangle. So I think what I might make these next lot of posters is I'll do them in that rectangle just so they sort of fit there. It does feel sort of like a CD cover layout, which I think is really cool. So I'll do that. I think that new one's uploaded, which it is. Like that. So maybe it sort of does entice people to sort of open up and check on it, which is like in a way of engaging, but I think I will bring it down, or at least it might be good to sort of use like a safe frame and keep it within that rectangle, and then boop, like that. There's no reason why I chose Slayer. Well, there is a reason. I thought those images looked pretty Slayery. So anyway, that's it. I'm done. I'm going to bed. I wanted to get something out tonight, and I did, and there it is, and I think it's pretty cool. So yeah. Stay creative. Bye.